Hi guys, this is the block of the month for February 2023. So this star on the outside here is called a friendship star, or sometimes called a twin star, and then this heart right in the center is just a regular heart. So this is part 2, or maybe part 3 and 4. Anyway, the continuation of the first part from that video that I made the other day, which was totally chaotic and kind of crazy video, but we're going to finish this today, okay? So this is my prototype, and you can see I just did the top, and then the batting is just pinned on. I haven't sewed that together yet, and I certainly did not put a backing on. So we're going to get started, and we're going to finish this right now in this video. So you probably remember my notes. Kind of crazy notes, right? But this is the block that we made last time in the last video. Now, mine's really wonky, and you know the things don't match up all that well, but that was a messed up video. That's what happens when I get up at 2 o'clock in the morning and start working. Anyway, we're gonna put this in the center block, and then we are going to construct the outside star. Whoops, there goes a pin. Where did that go? Oh my goodness. Okay, so let's get started, okay? So what I did on this little paper, these are my notes. So this is a 4.5 inch square block. And like I said, we did this in the other video. So welcome back to Creating Hanley, Friends and Family. I appreciate you watching along on this Quilt Along, Quilt As You Go, Block of the Month, Sew a Star Full of Years video series. How about that? So I kind of have a feeling that because this block is coming together so quickly for February, we're going to be able to throw in a second star block for February also. So we have 2 star blocks for January. We might have 2 star blocks for February. If you have a specific star that you want to see, put that in the comments, and I'll see if we can get that going. Okay? But in the meantime, this block measures 4.5 by 4.5. So that's 4.5 square. All right, now the measurements for the rest. So you have 4 pieces of your background fabric in 4.5. So these are the same size. So 4.5 inch square, 4 of these, okay? Excuse me. And then you have a couple extra colors. So now we have our heart fabric. So this is going to be, this is the heart fabric. So this is the same color as the heart, and that is going to be the main fabric. Okay, so we have the heart, and then that's these triangles. Okay, and we're over here. So those are going to be those triangles. This measures 5.25 inches. So you need 2 5.25 inches. Okay? 2 of those. And then you need 1 background fabric again. This is the same white, but a different size. Now this is 5.25 inches. Remember, these 4 corners are 4.5. This is 5.25, 1. And then your very background, back in the background, the shadow fabric, the black one, that is 5.25 also. So that is this color right here. This, where am I? This star. Okay? You only need 1 of those. All right. So what we're going to do is make quarter square triangles out of these 2 pieces. Okay? So if you want to, set these aside, set these ones aside. I'm just going to put them right here. And then you can cut both at the same time if you want to. You can cut both of these at the same time, or you can cut them individually. But I'm going to bring the laptop camera down. Yes, I'm still on my laptop. So for those of you who have not been following along, I do have a camera. And I also have the latest iPhone, which has fantastic video capability. But for some reason, I'm not able to make the computer and my camera or my iPhone talk, even though the camera is an iPhone. It's an Apple product, and the MacBook Pro, the computer here, is an Apple product. I don't know. I'm having trouble with that. So anyway, that's just a little background why I'm still using my laptop camera to make these videos. So, that is that. If anybody wants to help me on that, like I said before multiple times, I am happy to have some assistance on that. Okay? Anyway, I'm going to take the laptop camera down so my face is out of it. You don't need to see that anyway. We just need to show you the projects, okay? So here we go. Alright, so put this fabric, oh my gosh, guys. This on top of this. And make sure the edges are lined up. You want the edges lined up pretty perfectly, okay? And then we're going to cut we're going to cut on the diagonal. We're going to cut from corner to corner, and then this way, corner to corner. If you want to draw a line, you can. Otherwise, I'm just going to take it to my cutting board right here. Excuse me. Hopefully you can see this. And then I'm just going to take my rotary blade. I don't know why I'm coughing all of a sudden. So I'll try not to get my arm in the way. We'll see. Alright, so this way, corner to corner. Make sure you're cutting directly on those points, okay? Corner to corner. Alright, and then keep that there. Try not to move it at all. And then we're going to do corner to corner. Now, if you have a rotary cutting mat, you can turn it. I do, but I don't have it here. Alright. Okay, now you can see what I've done. So you want to cut on the diagonal, okay? So, both of these, I cut both fabrics at the same time. So you can see that. And then you just cut on the corners, corner to corner. So it creates those pieces. And then these pieces are separate. And then you sew them together as such, okay? So when I sew these together, I am always going to put, you can do it however you want, but I'm always going to put the color on one side and the light on the other. So I'm always going to put, wait, is this right? Ah, that's right. So you want the long side on the outside. Okay? I'm going to arrange my triangles in the exact same manner. So, like that. Okay? And then I just sew, put them together. Make sure the edges line up. And then I just sew right along this edge. Okay? Now if you have a leader, that's great. Use your leader so that your tip does not get sucked into the machine. And I'm just using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Okay. I'm just going to get it started. And then I want a chain piece. So I'm going to get these all ready for chain piecing. And chain piecing just means that you're going to feed one in after the other without cutting the thread. So we're going to get this going. This is going to come together really quick, guys. You're going to see. And so this should be a relatively short video. Okay, so make sure all these sides are lined up, and then we just sew right on these sides. Okay? 1/4 inch seam allowance. And again, chain piece, so you don't need to stop and cut the thread. You just keep it going. So you can see in the back how that works. These are still attached. Just keep it going. Now this one has a little bit more than a 1/4 inch seam allowance. That was by accident. This one kind of does too. That was by accident. Now, alright, now I'm going to cut these off, and then I'm going to cut these apart. So you see how they're all strung together? So you snip in between. Place my leader back there if I need it. Now, we bring these, we open them. Bring them open. There we go. Now we want to iron them. So when you iron these, of course you can iron to one side or the other if you want. Usually we iron to the dark side. However, sometimes that eats up a little bit of fabric enough so that it creates a bit of a measurement distortion. So I'm going to open my seams and press them. Press the seams. So you can always set the seam. So I don't know if you guys could see that. But let's set the seam. And then we're going to press it open. So open the seam. Press it to either side so you can finger press to get it started. And then press at the ironing board. Again, open, set the seam, and then you can press it the other way too if you'd like, just to make sure. And again, a press is just a press down. You're not swirling the fabric. So I'm going to try to speed this up because you don't need to see this 4 times. However, we're live here, guys. We're live. Okay, so press that open. And then again, just set it here. Set. Open the seam. Finger press to both sides. Oh my gosh. Sometimes this takes a little bit of patience. And especially if you don't have fingernails. I had to cut all mine off. I had to cut all the length off for massaging. So I don't really have much fingernail left. So open those up. Press. And now I have 4 identical half square triangles. Actually, these are quarter square triangles. Okay? Now we're going to take these 2 pieces and we're only going to cut one diagonal. So I'm going to cut both at the same time to save a little bit of time. make sure the edges are lined up perfectly. And then I take it back over to my cutting board. And I'm only making one cut. Okay? Diagonal to diagonal. So diagonal to diagonal. Okay? And this is going to create the other half of the half square triangle. Alright. So, now we have that. We cut it at the diagonal and pull it apart. And then we have two sets. Oh my gosh. Two sets. Like that. Okay? Now we take one of these and one of these. And we are going to sew those together. So you see how this is a quarter triangle, and we attach it to the other half. So you want to make sure that your triangles are the same, on the same way. So if I do my medium fabric on the right, I take the dark fabric on the top. So it doesn't really matter. I mean, you can do it the opposite if you want, but it doesn't matter how you do it. Always keep it the same for all the triangles. They should be identical, okay? Identical. So then I'm just going to take this, line up the point. So I'm going to actually, if you want to, you can snip off these dog ears. Right sides together, and then you can line up the point if one triangle is a little bit bigger, which the medium fabric might be a little bit bigger triangle. You can kind of see that there's... So all I did was I lined up the points. Okay. And then I'm going to sew right along a 1/4 inch on this side. So right down there. Now remember, this is a bias. These are bias seams. So, or the bias edge of the fabric, which means it's very stretchy. So see, bias is very stretchy. So you want to be very careful. You don't overstretch that, because that's going to create distortion in your quilt project, in your block. And enough distortion in several blocks means you are going to have an incredibly wonky project. Okay. So this is a little time. Oops. Alright, just lost my... Okay, so we're not going to do that anymore. Alright. Just threw my scissors on the floor. So I just want to make sure that all of my triangles look identical before I chain piece them in the machine. Okay. Okay. Great. There we go. Now, I'm going to feed them through like this. This is going to be a little bit distorted. I see this already. Okay. I'm getting a little distortion here, guys. Oh, what else is new? Okay, now once those are ready to go, oops, just dropped it on the floor. Here we go. Okay. Now, when you open these up, you see you have a block that is quarter square and half square triangle mix. So then what you can do is trim along here. So trim all these blocks. You could have done that in the beginning and then not worried about trying to line up the edges correctly. I could have done that and created less distortion for myself, but you know, why make it easier on myself? I also need a new blade. This one is getting dull. And then you open them up. And then, of course, again, if you want to, you can open up these seams and finger press them open. And then take it to the iron and iron them open so that they lie flat. And they're less distorted. Okay. Now, if you want to, you can take a little bit of mist it, and press so it lays really flat. Now, I do not have water in this machine because I don't have water in here, so there's no steam in this one. So I just take a spray bottle and mist and then press. This bottle I actually use in my painting projects, so you can probably see some of the paint all over it. And then you have a nicely pressed block. And then you want to trim this up. And it should measure 4.5. It should measure 4.5 by 4.5. Okay. I think this is the most time-consuming part right here, guys. So, I'm sorry you have to watch me struggle through this, too. But if you're quilting along at the same time I am, you're doing this right now with me. We're all doing this together. Okay. Last one. Now right here, you're going to have a little bit of bulk right here. When you open this up, and then you open this part up, because you are folding this seam back on itself, it's going to be a little bit bulky right there. Yep, that's true. It's going to happen. If you want to use starch, feel free to use starch, especially on these triangles. When you're cutting on the bias, you can always use starch. And I like to use this product by Acorn. But you can use whatever starch product you like or you have available to you. Okay. Now, this is my 4.5 inch square, 4.5 inch by 4.5 inch from OmniGrid. So you can see 4.5. This little part right here is the 1/2 inch, and then so is this, the 1/2 inch. But you can see this dotted line in the middle of that. That is a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and that's a measurement for both sides. So by adding the 1/2 inch on the end, you know you're getting a 1/4 inch seam allowance on the top and the bottom, and also on the left and right sides of your block. So I'm just going to use that to square up my blocks. And then I'm not going to do it on this plastic, but you cut this out, square it up, and then you have blocks that match this. Okay? So let me square all 4 of these up. You can do them all at the same time if you like. I'm going to do them all independently. And I'm going to add my swirly. My OmniGrid mat that moves around. Okay. Let's try to see this. I don't know if you can see that from all the way over there, guys, but I'm going to try to do this the best I can for the camera. So I'm basically just taking off these dog ears. And there's a little bit of distortion, but now it is squared up. And it is the same size as this. So that's what you want. You want to put these two together. And I'm going to show you how we do that in a second. Probably like this. Okay. I'm going to do this side. Yeah, I made these a little bit wonky. So, we're just going to have to deal with it. Okay, now here's how we put this together. We get out these two. And then we follow along. So if we follow along on the template here, we're going to put Is that how I want to do that? Does that look right? No, something looks a little off. What looks off? Let me do this my way. So I'm going to put it together facing me. So let's see. If I do this. No. How do I want to do this? Like this. Does that look right? Yeah, I think that looks right. Okay. And then we place our background squares. All right, like that. Now, let me look at that to see if that looks right. Yeah. No, this one's off. How is this one off? Like that, I think. There we go. Does that look right? Yes. Okay. So these are opposite. These are opposite. Yeah. There we go. Okay. Yeah. That looks right. That's right, guys. All right. So that's how we're going to lay this out. Okay. Now you can either do this in rows or columns, however you want to do that. I'm going to choose rows. So I'm going to sew this onto here, this onto here, so this line, and this onto here, and sew that line. Okay? If you wanted to, you could stick a pin in so you know which side you're sewing. Line these up. Perfect. Okay? And so you know which side you're sewing on. You're sewing on that side. All right, here we go. I'm just going to move this over to give me more room. Make sure your blocks are squared and you're sewing on the correct edge. Now you can sew on either line if you want to sew this way or on this side. Make sure that you be careful of this seam. So I'm just going to start right here, 1/4 inch seam allowance. And again, I'm going to chain piece. Okay, now I'm going to detach these. And I know this is the first one I put through. And this is the second one. I know that because of the heart. So the first one I put through, I'm going to take the other background. So it looks like this, right? Okay. And then put those sides together. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I got distracted there for a second. Alright, so chain piece this. And then you want to make sure that these sides are lined up and those sides are lined up. 1/4 inch seam allowance. Now this is my top row, and this is the bottom row. Okay? So, prepare that bottom row. It goes like this. Now don't get confused because I did not do the middle row yet, but this is the top row. Now you can iron these seam allowances open again, okay? And you take it over here. To your iron. Oh, you can't even see that, guys. I'm sorry. I know this setup is not the most ideal, and I really wish it was different. Right now it is how it is, and I thank you for struggling along with me and sewing along with me, and hopefully somebody will help me figure out the filming and how to do an edit. Right now it's just real time, so it's almost like it's live. Almost like I'm filming this live one time through. Okay. Now, this is, the top is done. Okay, that's the top row. And then, nope, that's not right. That is right. So you want to make sure when you're lining this up that this does not happen, because this is incorrect. Well, why is it incorrect? Because this little portion is supposed to be the shadow start point behind this one. So you want that to be touching the heart. So you want that to be touching the heart. So at the top here, you want that to be touching the heart. The bottom one, you want this part to be touching the heart. Okay, so it's actually going to be over here. Okay, so when you're lining these up, make sure that your dark piece attaches to the heart. It's always connected to the heart. If you are out here, yes, this part might be correct. However, this is just hanging out in space. And that's going to look awkward. So you want that, okay? So let's sew this onto here. So that's how you can double check. If you're not sure, you're kind of confused, figure that out, and then when you figure that out, where the dark should be, then you know where your sewing line should be. Okay? If that makes sense. All right. Now, 1/4 inch seam allowance. On here. And then I sewed all the rows together. So I'm just going to cut everything free and open this up. And see? The darks touch the heart block. And then when I put this on here and this on here, the darks touch, okay? So iron, 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 and then we're going to put this side together, and then we're going to put this together, okay? So let's take it to the iron. Iron this open. Now, if you wanted to, you can iron to one side and have your seams nest. I'm just going to have everything open from the center out. I don't know if you can hear my phone's going off over there. So I'm just going to have everything center out because I just want to open my seams because everything is wonky. I kind of made this like really super wonky. So if I iron the seams to one side or the other, it's definitely going to be even more wonky. So I don't want to do that. So just trying to salvage it the best I can. Okay. And then open this. Actually, these seams, there's just so many. I'm just going to iron this out. Okay. So that's done. This is done. Press this on the top. Oh yeah, guys, this is super wonky. You can see this line, not the straightest. See how that is super... Now, if you wanted to, you can trim that off. In fact, you probably should. If it's super wonky, your sewing is going to be way off. Okay? So, I trimmed that down. Now, to make my star, I want to make sure the dark edge is to the heart, the dark edge is to the heart. So, I'm going to sew this on here. And if you nested your seams, they should fit right in here. Okay? So, you want to line up this line to this line. And line up this line to this line. If you want to, you can put a pin in there. A couple of pins to make sure that doesn't move. If you want to. Okay. There we go. So like that. And again, a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And when you come to these seams, you can slow down a little bit. Just make sure that the needle has time to go through all those seams. And then because on the back of this is the heart, there's a lot of seams that I'm going through there. You want to make sure that they all lay flat. Okay. There we go. And then you open this up. Finger press. Look at that. It's coming together, guys. And then we put this one on the bottom. So again, make sure the dark touches the heart. And then line up these corners right here. Line up these seams. This is the most important part. Okay. Line up that edge. Those seams and that edge. And then go ahead and sew. If you want to stick a pin in or two, go ahead and do that now. I'm just going to put one at the bottom. I'm going to start here at the top. Alright, guys. We're almost done. And again, when you come here, check on the other side. Make sure all those seams on the bottom are laying flat and not flipped over. Alright, same here. Make sure all these seams are laying flat. There we go. Almost done. Guys, it's coming together. Alright. Let's take it out and take a look. Look. Here we go. Did we do it? Did we do it? Awesome. That is the double friendship star. Nice. Can you see how this is the background? Lovely. Now I'm going to iron it. I'm not even going to worry about the seams at this point. I'm just ironing the whole thing kind of flat. Hot iron. Steam press it. Steam press it. If you want to, you can starch it. Oh, guys, I'm so excited about this. Nice. Looky. Looky. Ah! We did it! Yay. So, let's bring this up. This and this. Can we see that? I'm so excited. We did it. We did it. Double friendship. Nice. Now, I'm going to put this on the back of this. So, this is our sandwich, okay? So now is step 4 where we start our quilting. So we make our quilt batting, or actually we make our quilt sandwich. So I cut like a 13-inch piece of batting. This is just a 100% natural cotton batting. And then this, now if you want to, you can square this up, not a big deal, but just make sure it's about 12.5 inches, and it's 12.5 inches, and if you wanted to square it, you can, but we're going to square that at the end. So, I'm going to take all these pins out. And I'm getting so excited. Okay, now very carefully, I'm going to flip this. Oh, you guys can't even see. Sorry. Flip this over very carefully and then lay this on top. Now, you want to make sure that these are kind of aligned up on the same side, same edges. So I need to move this over, tiny smidge. And then this comes up. Now, do you have to do it that way? No. You can take, this is not going to work. So, this needs to come down. Actually, you know what? This might be super extra wonky that I have to create two separate blocks. Two separate sandwiches. I might have to do that. Okay, you know what? I am going to do that because it is super extra wonky. You know what, guys? Okay. That is a bummer. So I may have to quilt this in another fabric. Yeah, I might have to quilt this. Okay, you know what? I'm going to have to think about this. I'm going to have to rethink this because this side and this side, they're not exactly matching up. It's not super off, but it might be off enough that these don't line up. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I might have to do this a different way. So, you know what, guys? We have another video to do. So part 4 is going to be quilting this, okay? So part 4 is going to be quilting this, the front and the back. I'm going to have to create a different kind of backing, and it might just be a flat piece of fabric. So, yeah. Anyway, okay. I guess this is all we're doing today. But that turned out nice, right? So we have the star, friendship star or the twin star, and then the heart inside the star. So, love, friendship, right? Yeah? All right. So, all right. That's it for today, guys. The next video, we're going to quilt both of these. Actually, in the next video, we're going to quilt both of these. So we'll create our quilt sandwich, and then we will, and then that'll be the end. And then we'll save these, set those aside, and put them in your storage bin for all your stars for the year. And then at the end, we will trim everything all together and then sash them together or attach them somehow. There's a couple different ways we can do that. And then then bind it on the end, and then it'll be done because you already quilted it. So we don't have to worry about putting a backing on and then a long armor. It'll be done, okay? Awesome. So I'm excited. All right. Thanks for sticking along with me so far. And in the next video, we'll quilt it. All right. You have a great day. Like and subscribe. I know it's a hot mess, but let's get going on this. All right, guys. Have a good one. We'll talk later. See you in the next video. Bring your friends and family back. I love y'all. Bye. Did this stop? Did this stop yet? Is this a blooper? Did it stop or does it keep going? What's going on? Why won't anything happen here? Hello, video. What are we doing? I don't know. Huh. Here we go. Movie recording. Oh, we're still recording?